Shit. Hey guys, welcome back to the S3 Magazine podcast. As always, I'm Mike Sanders. That's Jonathan Woolley. Today we're going to talk about the fact that, well, sometimes you love cars and modifying cars and racing cars, but sometimes, just sometimes, you get bored. Especially when you get a little bit older and you start to see all the BS that kind of comes with it and responsibility and what's happening in the automotive industry and the fact that you can't freaking drive over the speed limit anywhere nowadays because there's always some old blue-haired lady in the way. So our question of the day is, if you guys had some money, a little bit of change in your pocket, what would you do with it? What other motorsport would you go try to get into? We're talking about dirt bikes. We're talking about boat stuff. Me and Willie talked about a lot of boat stuff today because he apparently spent some time on a lake in old Alabama. You got jet skis. You got side-by-sides, four-wheelers. I mean, the possibilities are damn near endless. So, Wooly, I want to know what you want to get into next. What's going to be your next addiction? Because everybody knows that every time you get into something, man, it's like a heroin addiction. Except we're not as bad for you, obviously. It's horrible for your bank account, but at least you're not, like scabbing up and robbing, your family and friends and stuff, which is great. Anyway, I'm off track. So, talk about it.
Okay. Yeah. When I when I get into something, I go all into it. It's a problem, but it's not really. Like my mom will be like, "You're so don't make any quick decisions." And I'm like, "I don't make quick decisions. I think about stuff a lot quietly, and then I react quickly." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so to somebody that's not paying attention, it seems like I'm flying by the seat of my pants. But usually I've thought about it a good bit before I jump into something. And usually when I jump into something, S3 is a good example of that. We go all in. You know what I mean? We do not quit come hell or high water. I'm not the type of guy to go and get a car or a jet ski and just be like, that was a phase. I'm done with it. I usually go all in.
And
But
you normally hold on to your toys forever. You never really get rid of them.
yeah, I don't really sell anything. But I also realize that I'm kind of immature. Like I just I'm built that way. I'm just immature. I'm okay with it. I've come to terms with it. I get really super passionate about stuff. I get very romantic and poetic about stuff. I guess it's the writer in me, but if something connects with me, I'm like all in and I've got to make people understand why I love it. Um and so, like you said, I went to an Alabama lake this weekend with some friends and we spent all weekend there. And, I've been messing around at lakes uh, seriously for like the past few years with the stand up jet skis and stuff. But this was different. We didn't bring the jet skis, we were on a boat. And I know that this is like a no shit Sherlock moment, but like something happened to me at the lake this weekend where it just clicked. You know how sometimes stuff just clicks, man? Sometimes you see a car doing the right burnout at the right time and the right ACDC in the background or something, and it just freaking clicks, and you're like, I've got to have that. It was kind of like that kind of situation, right? Like, we're at the lake and all of a sudden it just hits me like there is such an energy there. And you mentioned it at the introduction. Maybe we're jaded. We've been doing cars a long time. We're kind of used to that. We love cars forever, obviously, but that initial sizzle is long since past. I mean, we've been doing this since the late '90s. So I was sitting there on the lake and you see the boats, like the big badass Malibus with the wake surfers on the back with the big stereos, and they're kind of leaned back. I hate to say it, like a truck, but they're making like a squatted truck, but they're making a big wake, and they got some of this hip hop country stuff playing, and the water's hitting the neon on the paint, and it was just like, damn, that is badass. You know what I mean? Like from the trucks that are unloading these things in the water to the boats to pulling up at the restaurant all cool, like, with your skis all stacked up on these things. Like, it hit me that there's an energy there. Now, what I need you to help me do is explain that. Like, what am I feeling? Like, how do we translate that energy. What am I feeling? Is it something that is lost from cars? Is it something, is the energy still in the car scene like that is what I'm getting at. Uh or is it just that I'm a noob to like the, I know cars well. When it comes to boat life or side by sides, or I mean, I've been messing with off-road stuff, but that had hit me in the same way. It's like using, what am I trying to get at, man? Maybe it's using the cars for more than just showing out, but like using the cars for a bigger part of life. You know what I mean? Like, we used to tune cars back in the late 90s, early 2000s when we were kids. And we would all mob the street and we would all go to Little Italy in Athens, Georgia together. And we'd all parallel park right in front of the place like we owned the place. And we basically forced our lifestyle and our hobby on the world. And that was fun. But now I feel like car culture has kind of gone into this little dark hole where we know a lot and it's kind of put us in chains, so to speak. I know I'm getting, you know, reel me back in. Like,
I
is the
got you. I
energy
got
that
you.
I'm like, here's the thing. So, to catch you guys up that's listening, like, I called Mike on the way back from the lake and I'm like, Mike, there's a freaking energy here and we need to freaking follow it. Like, why? You know what I mean? Like, we frustrate ourselves because a lot of times it feels like we're banging our head against the wall trying to save car culture, trying to make people realize what we saw in it. And then we're like, God dang, man, like, what are we fighting? Why don't we just go with the flow and do the fun stuff? If the car if the car industry is going to get overregulated, if the new cars are going to get numb, should we just go where the energy is?
It's so you keep talking about the energy, and anybody out there who listens to podcasts, especially if you guys listen to podcasts of comedians, what Wooly is referring to here, and I'm not sure if he's quite grasped it yet, but it's the hang. Like modified cars are cool, but you know it's cooler modifying cars with your buddies. Car shows are cool, but you know what's cooler when you roll up 10 cars deep with your buddies and it's a weekend of hanging out. Import Alliance is a lot of fun, but you know what's more fun? The nightlife with all your buddies and drinking in the parking lot. It's the hang. That's what you're looking for. And I've actually spent a lot of time on Lake Lanier here lately, and you're 100% right. That energy that you're talking about is the equivalent of like whenever you're in college and you had a fun night out the night before, and then you're walking through the hallway and you're seeing all your buddies that you saw doing dumb shit the night before, and everybody's like, Mike, Wooly, oh my God, what's up, guys? And it's just a fun atmosphere. You know, you're looking over and you're seeing, oh, I know that dude in that boat over there. Let's go whip over and see him. Oh, that's my buddy over there at stand up jet ski. It's just fun because everybody on the lake is half drunk and just having a really good time. They have a really good temperament. They're not out there getting pissed at traffic. They're literally on vacation. Even if it is the lake they live on, while they are on that water, even if it's just a Saturday, that is a vacation day because you're truly taking advantage of what your time off is supposed to be. That is why the lake or the ocean is so freaking phenomenal when it comes to that. And you get to go out there and just have fun. And it's really easy to have a lot of fun out there. Like, dude, I mean, we got a tri-tune recently, just me and a bunch of buddies from college and our families. Dude, this thing was, and it wasn't super slow. We were pulling the kids on one of those big old jumbo freaking couch, things in the back and trying to sling them off. But dude, we had four families, not four couples, four families, all of us with multiple kids on this one boat. And we had it for like 4 days and we just had a freaking blast, man. It was just so much fun hanging out with my boys, my kids and my buddies from college. But I think that's what you're going for. When you're saying energy, at least the way I interpret it, I think you're talking about the hang.
I think you're 100% right. Like, you just totally explained what, for me, what seems to be missing in the car world these
Mm.
days. And again, that
Well,
could be my perspective. Like, I'm sure there's groups, there's crews, there's teams, there's generations that is getting that hang from car culture. And that is fucking awesome. And you guys should enjoy every second of it because that's what we have. We
Mhm.
have grown up. You know what I mean? Like our days of going to Import Alliance and TPing the frickin' La Quinta and partying our faces off all night long, sleeping for 30 minutes and then showing up at the event. Like those days are probably over, but that spirit, what I call energy, which you call the hang, is there. And I
Mhm.
felt it at the lake. I feel it in jet skis. Part of it is because I am so seasoned with cars that maybe I don't feel that anymore.
You know what the big difference is? You know what I think causes the big difference? Is cell phones. Car culture has become a big old flex. You're either a race car driver or else you're an influencer or an Instagrammer or a TikToker. No matter what, whenever you're doing something with your car, instead of being there in the moment with your friends or enjoying it, you're trying to figure out how can I put this on my pages, all the different platforms. How can I, expose this as much as possible so I can get as much likes as possible. Now, on the flip side of it, when I was on that boat, I don't think I looked at my phone really for like 4 days, like at all. I think I left my phone in the cabin most of the time. It wasn't. I didn't even want to document it. I just wanted to live and be there in the moment. I didn't care at all about the social media side of it.
Damn, you're on fire tonight, Mike.
Smart, smart. Sometimes, not always.
Dude,
Sometimes.
I mean, but you're absolutely right. Like that time on that lake with friends, that was the moment. My phone went somewhere in the shade where the sun wouldn't hit it, and I didn't pull it out. I didn't
Yeah,
care. I didn't hear it. It didn't bother. I was just in the moment. And part of what I love about stand-up jet skis, part of one of the many things I love, is it's not a flex. You can buy the nicest jet ski on the market. If you don't put in the work, you're not shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not, you have to put in the tray time. You have to ride the thing to develop the skill to be about it, so to speak. Car culture in the age of social media has lost that. You can
yeah.
throw money at it, and if you catch the algorithms or whatever, you got the right penis colored shirt and sleeve of tattoos or whatever. Sorry, gotta back that up. Maybe explain that joke a little bit. Me and
There,
Mike always laugh at the current styles where like the hoodies are like flesh color.
they really are. It's
And
weird.
whenever we start like campside, like drinking and talking shit at a grid life or something like that, we're like, why are you wearing a penis colored hoodie? So like that's just what we call it. But you know what I mean? Like if you are influencer material, you can like build a whole brand with really no perspective or experience. And
Yeah,
that doesn't fly in the world of stand up jet skis because that is a skill. That's a sport. Yes, it takes a machine, but without the skill, it's worthless. It's kind of the same with mountain bikes. Like you can buy the $10,000 bike and the matching outfit and the Ford Raptor to bring it to the bike trails, but if you don't ride the bike, you're not shit. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that
yeah,
to be cocky. I'm saying that because that's the appeal. Like you got to put in work, and that's what gives it value. And I think because cars are largely materialistic at the end of the day, if you don't develop that deeper sense of like why we do this, then it just you burn out. You know what I mean? Like you're
yeah,
doing it for the wrong reasons. And unfortunately, because it is a financial materialistic hobby first, that cream rises to the top. The guys with the money that go and buy the hot boy shit get a lot of likes. And the
yep,
guys that have a lot of soul and character in it, the guys that I want to hang out with, they might not. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But it's like you said, like the lake, for example, it's a breakaway from all of that. And car culture should be that same breakaway. It
yeah.
should all it should
Well,
all
it
work
used
together.
to be. It used to be like when we first got into cars, the only thing we did with our little flip phones was call each other and tell each other where the cops were. Like that was it. Or where are we meeting up tonight? Or what bar are we going to after we're done pulling stupid shenanigans and shredding up tires? Like it wasn't about that. And now you're absolutely right. People have gotten so engulfed in their social media. I mean, how many people's cars have an Instagram page? You know, like that's it's a little bit weird when you say it out loud, but everybody does it. Not me, but everybody else does. But it's just one of those strange things. And when you do that, you're basically giving yourself another job. You're turning your hobby into work. And please, God, listen to me from someone who has turned what used to be a really awesome hobby into a career that spanned how long we've been doing this now? 18 years. Don't do it. It definitely kills at least a little bit of the love. You know, I used to eat, sleep, and just breathe cars. And now, man, I still love to do it, but it absolutely feels like work whenever I do.
I
Which
think
is
we
why we
just
need boats.
I think we just know too much. The
Yeah,
problem is we got too smart with. It's not that we're smart with cars. It's not that I know the ins and out of every car ever made. It's not like I can disassemble every motor and all that. It's that we've been around the car industry long enough to know, right?
yeah,
Like
kind of
we
seen it
saw
all.
in 2008 when the economy crashed and a lot of the tenured, we can call them old school car culture marketing guys, like they got kicked out, man, because they were getting paid too much money. They deserved the money that they were getting paid. They had a career of experience, but it was old school experience. It was based on relationships. It was based on friendships. It was based on, I've known this guy for 20 years, so of course we're going to work together. It was an absolute tribe. Car culture was a tribe. 2008 hit, the shock of the economy. A lot of those guys got let go. My dad was one of them, and a lot of them got replaced by the people that at the time were our age in their mid 20s. We were hungry. We had come in at an entry level position, and at that time they offered, "Hey, do you want to be a marketing and anything with marketing in it?" We were like,
Yeah,
"Yes, yes." Our business card is going to say marketing, and they're like, "Yeah, sure." You're not going to
yeah,
get a raise, you know.
yeah.
And so we took it. We didn't have the proper experience. We didn't have the proper network. All we
Mm,
had at that time was like a freaking MySpace and maybe a Facebook. And we knew that social media was the beginning of something. And we knew that it was a bit of a cheat code. I'm getting off topic here, but like a lot of the that's where it started going that direction. And car culture became less about the tribe and it became more about me, 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 me. How can I
yes.
capitalize on this thing? And that affected and diseased car culture more than we know. And we know that because we were in it. That's what
Hmm.
I mean when I say that we understand car culture. We understand that side of it. And now we're at a point where there is no tribe anymore. It's just companies with Facebook pages and with Instagram pages and with YouTube channels trying to be their own marketing while also trying to make a product. And it's everybody just trying to overshout everybody else. There's still a lot of sizzle, but when people get into it and get past the sizzle, like, let's be real, man. Like, it's a shell of what it used to be.
Hmm.
I mean, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. The problem is everyone they fell in love with that Instagram model of doing business. And I'll tell you what, for a while there, I don't know if anybody listening, please let me know if you guys remember us from back when we used to do Still Hood. That was kind of when that whole era hit, when the social media stuff was really, really working for companies. We started a company or just a brand to go along with S3 called Still Hood. We made shift knobs and shirts and hats and just anything and everything, all sorts of cool stuff. And it hit so, so well. Um, but we ended up kind of stopping because it just felt like we were contributing to the downfall of the automotive industry, and everything that we did felt so sold out. It reminded me a lot of that movie Tropic Thunder. Remember that movie?
Yeah.
Okay.
Trying to see where you're
I
going
think I
with
think
it.
of movies in a weird way. I don't know, man. Remember when they're walking through the jungle and the camera's rolling on him, and you got the rapper guy, and he's over there, and he keeps like dropping little hints for all his products, and he's like, man, it's so hot in this jungle. I'm sweating so much. Good thing I got some of this booty sweat. And brings out like this ridiculous can of some energy drink called booty sweat. Anyway, everything felt like that. And I'm seeing that so much now with all the stuff people are trying to do. It's like, man, you're a wheel manufacturer, but yet now I see that you guys are like putting all of your time, effort, and resources into a podcast, which I guess is cool, but like, shouldn't you guys be focusing on, making wheels and then marketing the wheels and maybe partnering up with media companies the way that business is supposed to be done? Because that's how it's supposed. An industry, a well-functioning industry, is supposed to be a circular economy. Everybody within the industry is supposed to basically trade money around, get it from the consumers, trade it around, give it to the media companies so that they have your back. But all these guys have pulled out of traditional media, and they're dumping all their money into social media and trying to be their own media instead of just going, you know what, Mike and Wooly are cool. We're going to do business with Mike and Wooly because they're cool, and they have the automotive industry's best interest at heart. I know that those guys will always fight tooth and nail for the automotive industry and the automotive aftermarket industry. And that is true. We will always do that. But if that money's not coming into our door, eventually we're not going to be able to do it anymore. Eventually we're just going to go away. And then you're going to have to call up old King Zuckerberg and say, hey, man, I know that you really want to push EVs and everything, but can you, throw us a bone? We want to get the automotive industry going. And he's going to say, no. You can go pound sand. I really don't care about you at all, because he has no interest. Just like every other owner of the social media platforms, they do not care. So everybody in this industry, and I know I'm generalizing here, but it feels like everyone in this industry has had this self-fulfilling prophecy where they just see themselves becoming so famous that it takes their brand to such an amazing new heights and awesome levels that they just become rich. And it's not true. It's not true. You get rich with likes and rich with views, and then that's about it. At the end of the day, you're still just a manufacturer trying to peddle product. You're just being more of a whore now. Oh shit, sorry. I went too far. My bad.
I think I've already said worse than that. We try and start these podcasts not cussing, and we get about 3 minutes in before that flies out the window. But to put it in its most basic vocabulary for those of you that don't have to, live in the automotive industry every day. Like, this is the way the aftermarket should work. It's a niche culture. Think of it like punk rock scene, or think of it like the skateboard culture of the 80s or 90s. It should be people, cool people doing business with cool people. And they should all be out to protect the fucking coolness of that industry.
Sorry, Susan.
Sorry, Susan. And that's gone now. That's not the way it is in large part. Yes, there's still pockets of that going on, but what social media has done is it's changed the game. People are advertising on Meta, they're advertising on Google. Once that money, hear me now, once that money leaves the automotive aftermarket, it's gone. Okay, big tech is not putting money back into the automotive aftermarket. You guys have to understand that. So when your favorite wheel company, your favorite suspension company, your favorite freaking turbo company advertises on Facebook, advertises on Instagram, advertises on Google, tries to find that cheat code, right? Like, when they're paying big tech, that money's gone. And then you wonder why your events are dwindling down and there aren't these mega epic events. You wonder why your automotive, like, aftermarket media is dead in the fucking water, and just YouTubers run the whole thing because they get paid by Google. Google has taken the aftermarket's money and it's decided who's going to get it.
Yeah.
They have no right. They have no right. That it should be the manufacturers deciding who the voices of the industry are going to be and working directly with those voices, not letting Facebook, Meta, Instagram, Google, any of those guys into the mix. And we've slaughtered ourselves. I mean, we have. And I know there's good YouTubers out there. There is good media out there for sure. The problem is it's completely saturated and we've lost control, and the aftermarket can't not that you should ever be able to control the media, but you can't even like work with them or influence them or reach them because there's been a complete disconnect. The whole thing is kind of effed. I
Yeah.
mean,
And that's why we get boats. Because you don't
yeah,
have
I
to
was
deal
gonna
with all
say
that.
on top of all that mess, right? Like if you're a car enthusiast right now, pat yourself on the back because everything is working against us. Like this is not a natural, easy thing to get into anymore. It used to be
Mhm.
a staple in pop culture. Like, you'd walk out in your high school parking lot and it was everything was rap. You
Yes.
know what I mean? Like, and on top of the fact that we're killing ourselves from within because we have no loyalty. And another thing, hold on a second. Social media also has a way of making you the center of your universe. You
Oh
see
yeah.
your likes, you you think it's the whole wide world, and it's not. It's your likes on a page that's probably at this point, let's be honest, stale. But anyway, we're getting back to it. The automotive industry has dealt with like every blow imaginable and not the good kind. I'm talking about the the inflation kind, the regulation kind, the EPA kind. Like it is harder than ever before to make an affordable, engaging sports car. You literally you can't do it anymore. So that's what I mean by the energy. When you take all of this stuff into account, I mean, dude, like I know you and me, we're never going to stop screwing with radical cars. Now,
Mm-hmm.
the question is, are we only going to screw with radical cars? If you have
No.
$50,000 right now, and I'm speaking as a guy that just got off the lake and saw some cool shit, if you have $50,000, are you going to buy a GR Corolla or are you going to buy a 8-year-old Malibu boat? You know what I mean? Like, which
Yeah.
one, as a let's just say 40-year-old adult male, are you going to buy? The $50,000 Corolla when you could buy a $5,000 shitbox project car. You can buy a
Yeah.
$50,000 Corolla that's not special in 95% of the population's eyes. No appeal whatsoever. You have to. People don't walk up to I love Toyota. People don't walk up to that car or to a Type R or to a Type S and go, "Holy shit, what is that?"
Yeah. Yeah. They don't. It just looks like the nicer trim package of whatever the Corolla or the Civic. That's all it is in most people's eyes. I understand those cars are special and they're phenomenal on track and they're a lot of fun. But at the end of the day, if I'm forced to choose between that or a 8-year-old Malibu, lakes don't have speed limits. There's not cops out there hassling you, and all the girls wear bikinis. It's like Nope 99 all over again.
Yeah, I mean, dude, follow the energy. Follow the energy. That's what I'm saying. Like in the 90s, there was a natural magnetic energy towards sport compacts because they had the ingredients right. They were fun, they were affordable, they were a blank canvas. They were never stupid fast, but they were fun. Like, you know what I mean? They were easy to modify. They were fun to modify. Your parts were shiny and awesome colored and easy to put in with
Yep.
some friends. Like it was innocent fun. When you buy a $50,000 Civic or Corolla, you are enslaved to what you bought. Like you
Mhm.
can't just have pure fun with that car. You know what I mean? Like
The
it's
manufacturers make it really difficult to work on those things. I mean, like even the most simple mods are going to throw check engine light codes. It's going to make the car go into freaking limp mode. You're going to have to get some backyard mechanic who happens to know what you did to figure it out. I mean, like we figured all that out with the Type R. Working on new cars is not as plug and play as it was back in the day.
and I know in Georgia where we are, they just legalized side by sides. Like what?
That's
Like
what I need to get.
what's stopping us from getting? I don't even know what the models are. I think it's like a Can-Am Ranger, which is like this little pickup thing and slamming the shit out of it and putting 15 by 10s that would have gone on a Honda, put that on that thing, paint the cage fuchsia and cruise that thing. Or like, there's a freedom in those that the import scene used to have that the import scene doesn't have now. Um, what's keeping you from buying? Dude, I'm telling you, the boat world isn't ready for tuners to hit it. Like, people buy boats and that's their flex. Like,
Yeah.
they're all riding in stock Malibus. The biggest customization they have is the wakeboards that are stacked on them. Like, if the tuner mentality got into that world, it would be insane. And you're talking
Mhm.
about rolling up to these little marinas, little restaurants and stuff. Like, that's straight up stunting. Like, it's ripe
Yeah.
and it's ready to happen, and there aren't speed limits and there aren't speed cameras, and fuck the whole man. You know what I mean? Like, dude, I mean, that's the thing. That's what hot rodding has always been about, is about breaking the rules. It's about having some fun. Well, the rules on the road now are really too imposing, and we've let it go for so long. I mean, what are we living in? We're living in a world of 800 horsepower stock cars with 45-mile-an-hour speed limits and speed cameras to catch you. Like,
Yeah.
what? Follow the energy. You know what I
Yep.
mean? And I'm not saying give up cars. That's not, dude. Like, I mean, cars make every errand more awesome. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I will never give up cars, but I will quit playing the freaking game and get the cars that make me happy. That I will do. Get the old school cars that just make me happy, that don't break the bank, and I'm going to spend my money in places where the energy is.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a call out to the car culture. You guys have lost the energy in a lot of cases. And I know that there's companies, I mean, hell, dude, Toyota is trying harder than they've ever tried, and I appreciate that. And the Type R is better than it's ever been. And like, that's freaking awesome. But there's some intangibles missing that they need to find. And the automotive aftermarket, dude, like, it needs, I hate to say it, man, it needs soldiers. It needs an army to protect it and to save it, because there is a lot of posers that have gotten into this scene, and they're able to do it because you don't have to live it. You can throw money at it. You don't have to go drive your car 5 times a week to be able to drive it. It's not
Mhm.
like the stand-up jet ski. You don't have to, you know, actually live the culture. You can kind of just throw money at it and boom, you're an influencer.
Throw
Did
money
you
at it,
get the right
manipulate
car?
the apps.
Did you get the new Corolla when nobody could get it? All right, you're on your way to being an influencer. Like, fuck
Yeah.
off. Like, anyway, um, how do we wrap this up?
I don't know, man. In the beginning, I posed the question of what are you going to get into? So I legitimately want to hear what our listeners are going to say. I want to know what you guys are into. You posed a good point there with the side by sides, because as cool as lake life is, it gets cold in the state of Georgia, and it makes it where you can't go out and have fun on that thing, except for like, I don't know, probably 7 months out of the year, maybe eight, depending. Anyway, but what else could you get into? Side by sides are awesome. I used to have a four wheeler that me and my brother and my dad, we all had four wheelers. We go out on our property and just have a bunch of fun and go ripping around. That was awesome. Those things are cheap and easy to get. I think I bought my last four wheeler brand new for like $4,000. I mean, it was nothing, and it was a nice Polaris Sportsman. Um, there's a lot of options out there. You do not have to be confined to the road. Again, like Wooly said, don't give up your cars, guys. We're not going to stop doing car content. We still absolutely love that stuff. Cars are still your key to life and the keys to the road. But
Well,
I think it's worth noting that you should expand your horizons a little bit, broaden your view, go have some fun doing other things, meet other people in other communities. Like he was saying, lake people are awesome, man, because they're just kind of laid back and having a good time. They're on vacation. So yeah,
Well, I think
go have fun.
car culture is like the best ingredients to awesomeness ever. You know what I mean? Like what we have learned from car culture and what it's ingrained into us, we never do anything normal. We never leave anything untouched. Everything has got to have that charisma. You know what I mean? Like that's car culture. Like we never do anything basic. So anything that we get into is not going to be basic. That's just not who we are. So the question, yeah, exactly. Like, do we expand out? Because there's a lot of cool things out there, man. There's a lot of cool energy. We talk about boats, and you're like, yeah, you can't use them in the cold, but you know what you can do? Modify them, start thinking about them, start getting ready for like the next season, like it's a whole
Yeah.
downtime.
As I
Exactly.
was saying that, sorry to interrupt, but as I was saying that, I was thinking about all of our buddies who have like little race cars and project cars that live up north. Specifically, you remember our boy Yoni Kelman?
Yeah.
And he built that I think it was a Civic or an Integra, big high horsepower car, and that was his thing, is he would race it and have a ton of fun. He lived in Michigan while it was hot outside, and as soon as it got cold, he locked that thing up in the garage and just wrenched on it all winter long.
Yeah, it just changed the hobby. Like it's
Mm,
that way with jet skis, like we can ride in Georgia through December, if you're serious. And then because you still get those nice days in December. January and February is kind of shitty. But that's
mm,
when you start like getting excited for the next year. That's when you're like, all right, put them up. You put them up for a month or whatever, and then you're like, oh man, like what can I get? What can I do? I got to start thinking because by March we're in the water again. And it's kind of perfect. It kind of makes you enjoy the time that you have that much more.
true.
Um, so yeah, I don't know, man. It's just something I'm thinking about. And that's the whole point of a podcast is to just talk from the heart about what you're thinking about and what's going through your head. I saw some cool shit on the lake that reminded me a lot about what was awesome about the car industry, and I felt a lot of energy there, a lot of cool people, man. Like people were just cool. Like I was wearing my little S3. I got like a neon yellow kind of fishing style S3 shirt, and people are like, "What is that?" And I was like, "Oh, we do like this car culture. It's not like just new cars, but it's like the whole culture. Like that's dope. Where can I get that shirt?" There's a lot of energy about just like that's people are just like, that's cool. Like, let's do it. Like, it's like you said, when people are on a boat, their mood is freaking perfect. Like, they are just happy. They're happy about everything around them. And I found that as an ADD car kid to be very infectious. I found that to be very addictive. And I want to go buy a piece of shit boat and I want to modify it and throw neon all over it and cut the exhaust off or whatever those guys can do on a boat and go and just be freaking awesome and have a great time.
Do it. Do it.
I just might.
Sell a couple of your shit boxes. If you guys don't know, I guess to wrap this up, just to explain who Wooly is a little bit more, if you don't already know, he gets addicted to do stuff like this about once every 3 to 4 years, and it turns into basically a heroin addiction. So obviously, it started with cars. That's what we started off with, and then you got super, super into mountain biking. I mean, like so hardcore into mountain biking, and then you got into the Jeep stuff. Right? We never thought you were going to do that. And then you were starting to do it with American Muscle. You were starting to get really, really, really deep into American Muscle. And then there was a mishap. Somebody put a Hellcat into a mailbox. Anyway, you're not pointing any fingers, but it was that guy. Anyway, so, and then what did you get addicted to next? Oh, now it's stand-up jet skis, and very soon it's going to be boats. It's just how you are, man. But the cool thing is you don't abandon it. What you do is you get ingrained with it. You find a bunch of friends. You end up creating a whole new circle of people that you love and hang out with. And then you also make it part of what we do here at S3, which I think is pretty rad. Because if we were still doing just old Hondas and shit like we used to, I would be very, very bored. with our day to
Well,
day.
hang on
The
now.
fact that we kind of do a little bit of everything now. We got the off road stuff, we got the muscle stuff, we got Japanese muscle, we got jet ski stuff. Now the fact that we are kind of all over the place, some people don't like that. I love it. I love the diversity
Well,
that we bring to the table when it comes to our news.
I mean, here's the thing about brands in the 21st century and this whole social media era that we hate is that brands follow you through your life. That's what they kind of do now. And S3 has kind of turned into our life course. I mean, it started off as hardcore import, right? Like we would not ever stray from import, man. We were import tuners, whether that was Honda or Mitsubishi, as long as it wasn't a Mustang, we were good. Guess who has a Mustang now? You know what I mean? Like, and you know, I found mountain bikes. I wish I'd have found them 15 years earlier, but I've been riding them for 15 years hardcore now, and it's enriched my life. It's made me feel better. You know what I mean? It's my fitness. It's my gym. Um, I got into Jeeps, and I struggled with that because of an identity thing. Like, am I a Jeep? I'm not a Jeep guy. Like, I'm an import guy. You know, I can't get. And if I was going to get a 4x4, it has to be like a Toyota. And then I had a friend that so eloquently said, just fucking buy a Jeep already. There's, you've got dreads and you wear board shorts. How are you not a Jeep guy? This is the stupidest. Go buy a Jeep and call me when you do, and don't call me until you do. And I said, okay. Shout out to Paul Frankenstein. Because because you know what, that advice, that tough love, it broadened my world, it enriched my life. I found a whole new part of car car culture that I hadn't experienced before, and it made me enjoy car culture that much more. It brought me to the upstairs at SEMA at the time that, we never went. Like, it
Mm-hmm.
enriched my life. I made new friends. I've got lifelong friends because of it. I have seen beauty in my own backyard that I didn't know existed because of a Jeep. That's freaking awesome that car culture enabled that. You know what I mean? And so then I got into stand up jet skis for all the reasons I love an EF Civic hatchback, because they're rad, because they're brappy and they're freaking awesome. And you just look at a stand-up jet ski from the 80s or 90s and you go, that's freaking cool. I want to touch it. Like, that's just awesome. It looks badass even just sitting still. And so I got involved in that. And I've met some of the coolest people in my entire life. And it's, again, enriched my life more than I mean, what did I do before? You know what I mean? Like, it's and that's what life is about. And so now, for some reason, whether it's boats, I don't know if it's boats yet, or if it's just that lifestyle, that appeal of just enjoying the moment. Like, I'm all about moments. I saw a guy in a in like an F-250 backing up at the lake, and you know how like these redneck boys, these Alabama boys, right? Like, arm fully out the window, just looking back like that, backing this thing up, and it had big dumb American Force tight wheels on it with low profile, all terrain tire. It was the stuff that I'm normally like, God, that's cheesy, but in its element, it was badass. And he backed that thing in a lake, and his buddy in some Supra boat just pulled up on that thing, and I was like, dude, this is a potentially life enriching experience. Like, I get it. I get it. There's an energy here, and I'm all about it, and I'm going to find out about it. You know what I mean? Like, and that's what we should all do. Sorry, at the end of these things, I always have to cough because I'm over here yelling my face off whenever I get passionate. But yeah, that's the point. If your energy is in car culture, freaking do that. If your energy is wanting to take what you know from car culture and explore other areas, then freaking do that. We shouldn't hold ourselves in a box.
Yeah.
The only box we should hold ourselves into is that, we're guys that would rather be doing something than, typing something. Like, we
Explaining
want to be
online.
out in the real world, in it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So that's all I got to say about that.
Cool, man. Yeah, I think that's about all I got. I think I covered all the points. You ready to take it home?
Yeah.
All
If
right.
you've
Well,
listened this far, thanks for listening. Go check out s3mag.com if you don't already know about it. Subscribe or get the app, S3 Magazine. And thank you.
yeah. Thanks, guys. Take care.